for you. How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good.
Everyone, welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. I am so glad that you could join me on the live the morning after two of the shows that I review, Married to Medicine and the end of the reunion for Real Housewives of Potomac. Welcome everyone that is here for the live. I see Toot Latrice is telling me good morning to the mods and also the chat. Mama Bees, my moderator, has entered. Thank you so much. As you're coming in, please support the channel by hitting the like button, subscribe, and share the live to keep the channel in the algorithm. Thank you. This is a good time for me to also thank Team Replay. If you're coming in after the video, you get the special hype feature. You get 3 per week. I would appreciate 1 as a growing channel. Welcome in, CDW. Thank you for joining during the live. Welcome in, everybody. Everyone's speaking to each other. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. Now, let's see. The first thing that I want to do is we are welcoming the Grand Dame, otherwise known as Karen Huger, to the chat. So she's entered the chat. Let me see if I can add her. I may be able to do that. If not, that is okay. She entered the room, and I'm glad she did, because so far this has been kind of mid as far as what we're looking at. Karen's entered. It makes it a little bit better because we get to find out what's going on between her and Dr. Wendy. So let me just pull up my notes and we'll start from there. Again, the episode that we just finished, episode 2, I wasn't all that impressed with, and I thought we would get some more of a resolution because we need a resolution, but Andy's kind of over it. Andy is doing too many reunions, in my opinion. He was just terrible at the Traders reunion. His patience is not there. He continually wants to move on. I'm tired of Andy. I'm really tired of Andy. I don't appreciate what he's done with these reunions. Okay, so again, as you come in, press the like button. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We have Monique in her triangle. I didn't notice, but I noticed upon the replay, Andy said, "Hello, triangle." Monique, you know you look ridiculous. Hair is exquisite, makeup, face card never declines, so gorgeous. But this dress and whatever it is she was doing with that dress is just crazy. So Monique is showing us, and we're listening to, which I don't like. If they can't show us, just keep it out of here. It appears to be her child. Matter of fact, Ashley was at a live event, a live watch party, and she confirmed it was one of Monique's children, mentioning that Stacey had told Chris that they were filming. I don't believe that the child would lie. I think if Stacey is in contact with Chris, I don't really know what all that has to do with anything. We can't see it. And Monique, you say you don't care. So I don't really know what this is supposed to prove. Stacey is looking confused. She is looking nervous, but that is her MO for me when this group is attacking her, otherwise calling her a liar, which she is. We know Stacey to be a liar. Now, people are saying it's harmless lies. It has been, but if it's anything, I'm going to say this as a person that likes Stacey, and there's none of the women that I really dislike or can't stand other than Ash Top. Giselle is getting on that list. She's not quite there yet. I just want to see less of her because she's bringing nothing. But Monique, if you don't care, don't come in and join this hate train against Stacey. It's not going to end well for you. I don't like to see it. I think if Stacey is telling lies that impact Monique's custody dispute, we can't have that, Stacey. And another thing, Stacey, be wary of Andy. Andy loves you right now, but he keeps kind of insinuating that if the crowd or the audience, content creators, whomever loves Stacey too much and kind of gas her up and hype her up, is going to be to her detriment on her next season, which is her 3rd season, her junior season. So we'll see. He's giving her a warning. Kay sits, instead of sitting pretty as she should be, Kay, you on thin ice, girl. A lot of people don't want you back. I want to say something. This is the Monique and Stacey situation. Monique is showing up a very serious phone call or a video recording, I'm not sure, of her son, and Kay keeps jumping in, and she finally mentions Cookie. And Cookie was very upset. We don't care about Cookie. Andy didn't invite Cookie to this reunion, nor Sharice for that matter. One of the two of them have been in contact with Chris, our friends to Chris. If Stacey is as well, that's a possibility, but there are other people that are guilty. Ashley is sitting there quiet as a mouse. She's been popping in on everybody else's segment. She is mouse quiet. I see you, Ash Top. I see it. She didn't say a word. Kay kept jumping in. And then we know during the Denver trip, Ashley actually mentioned that she saw Chris at an event and asked him something about Stacey. And then her and Giselle tried to gaslight Monique when Monique was like, did you? I thought I told you that. And Monique was like, So there's something in the water is not clean. We don't really know what it is yet. I'll look for a few comments before we continue. Again, welcome in everybody to Sandra P's Gen Extra. Click the like button if you can. Toot Latrice, happy belated birthday. Pisces, one of my favorite signs, although they are super, super sensitive. My brother is a March 5th Pisces, and I'm going to have to start contacting him now, or he might not answer. Kiwan JTV, one of my fellow content creators over there working hard. She's a machine. She rolling on the river. A lot of good content. In addition to the reality show recaps, we also get scripted television. So I watch her for Sisters and all of that type reviews as well. Good morning, Grand Rising, and hey, y'all, hey. So if you're not already over there, please go. I was also at an arcade. Toot, you can put the name in there. I can't remember the name, but I know I heard my Toot's voice, Miss Toot Toot, and I also heard LaDawn over there talking about various topics. But it's a gamer channel, y'all, for women over 50, but everyone is welcome. So if she'll put the name in, I can't remember the name, but I subscribed, okay? Happy belated birthday from Kiwan J to Toot Latrice, and she's thanking everyone for that. Okay, so Monique is still going back and forth about this. Stacey is saying, Monique, I want you to be smarter in this moment. Stacey, don't call Monique dumb now, because she's not healed yet. She claims she is, but she's really not. I want you to be smarter in this moment. I do agree with with Stacey on that, because I still feel like Ash Top and Giselle brought Monique back in to weaponize her against Stacey. They're counting on her not being healed. The last time they saw her in action was season 5, when she was attacking and physically assaulting Candace. I don't call it a fight, because poor little Candace never stood a chance. Your mouth can't beat 2 fisticuffs, okay? They just can't. And then running around the building threatening to kill a girl. So Monique, I'm going to always bring that up, because you did do that. I don't care if you burn a candle or light incense. You attacked that woman. Kay keeps jumping in. She's mentioning Cookie. Cookie's not there to bring it out. So Stacey says, Monique, listen, we're literally talking about Cookie. So that's a good point Stacey had. And then she said, I'm not worried about your family. Why would I do that? Monique was listening, y'all. But Giselle's sitting there trying to weigh in. She's just nodding her head, not nodding, but shaking her head. She's trying to influence what Monique thinks. Ash Top is giving her traditional smirk. She doesn't want to hear anything. Some of Stacey's defense made sense. She said, I just got back with my husband. I went through a divorce. We just got back together. I care about my family. I didn't call Chris. She said, finally said, let's ask Chris. Monique says, he's not going to tell the truth. If Chris is not going to tell the truth, then how do we exonerate Stacey? This is getting kind of ridiculous. We don't care about it. You're talking about stuff they won't show us on TV because it's a child. Please leave us out of it. And y'all handle that in court, Monique. So Monique doesn't want to hear from Chris. Chris mentions that. And then another thing, you had contacted him before I even got on the show. We saw those texts. They were the ones that it looks like Chris saw Stacey out. And I think they've been out too. She said it was a table with maybe 24 people. Production shows us a picture with the 2 of them. Y'all, this is just going around in circles because it's silly. Monique says she doesn't care, but I don't know what it is. She said, if something comes back to me, then I have to address it. Monique, you actually don't. As long as it's not hurting you or your children, leave it alone. We actually don't care. Stacey doesn't want Chris. She left him on red, and he sent a second text. Well, you could say thank you. Something about you and your daughter are beautiful. Remember, she and Arabella had a local cover. He complimented them. Stacey didn't respond, and we know she didn't respond and not just delete the text. We know she didn't respond because his next response to her was, you should at least say thank you. So she doesn't want Chris. She does not want Chris. So I'll read a few TVs. Oh, how I see it. Welcome in. I was over in your yard and you were mentioning some things about my next review is Married to Medicine. So we're gonna drop a little tea on that. Everyone is welcoming in How I See It TV. Get over there if you're not. And Chris was messaging Stacy. She didn't reply. Exactly how I see it. She didn't reply. And we saw that because of his response. Because I think Ash Top at one point, you could delete messages. Ashley, you know exactly how to do that type tricky stuff because you are a trickster. But in this case, even though Stacy may lie, she didn't lie about this. Chris was being thirsty. Stacy was leaving him on red, and we had proof of that. So Monique, I hope Monique is smarter. I don't think Monique is mature enough yet to leave this in the trash like she should. I'm sorry. Key1 JTV says this whole thing was orchestrated by Kay, Ashley, Giselle, and Cookie, but Monique knows these women have always had set up energy. She does Key1 JTV, but has she grown enough to recognize that and just leave it where it is? What would have turned it for me was Ashley in Denver saying, yeah, I ran into Chris and I asked him this, that, and the other about Stacy, and Monique not knowing and said, you did? I thought I told you. You know you didn't tell this girl that. You didn't. So I don't know. We're going to see what Monique's going to do. Monique would have had a much better trajectory to her storyline and maybe even access to a full-time flute, which I'm still friend of energy with Monique. If Monique had come in kind of as a foil to Ash Top and Giselle and just try to really uplift the newer women, Angel in her first season, Kay's not a help to Angel. Kay is more of an op to Angel, even though they've got this 20-year friendship. I'm not sure about that, just the way she cuts her off, the way she treats her. I don't like to see it. I really don't. Everyone's speaking to each other. So we're going to see what Monique is going to do. Jazzy is still up there not getting enough attention. As Kay told her, you got 15 minutes, don't waste it on me. I heard Jazzy say, they're probably sleeping together. Chris is not going to tell the truth if she's still sleeping with him. Jazzy, you lucky you this far down the couch. Stacy didn't address her at all, but she probably heard it as well. I don't think that Stacy was sleeping with Chris. Stacy has a certain type. Chris is not Stacy's type. I'm sorry. Stacy is Chris's type. Really pretty, really thin, trophy, showpiece. Stacy is that type. So is Monique. Cookie is not. And I'm not saying that Chris and Cookie haven't gotten down. I believe they have, but Cookie's never going to be on display. So she'll be behind the scenes and angry, but she's not going to be on display with Chris. She's just not. Chris is one of them types. So Andy says that Wendy is looking at Stacy like she wants her to confess. He finally goes back to Wendy. Wendy is glad it's not about these fraud charges. So Wendy is just happy to weigh in. No, Andy, I'm not waiting on her to confess, but I want her to realize it. Something Wendy is saying, rigmarole about if Stacy were to come out with her truth. So again, nobody believes Stacy. I believe her here. I think information did go back to Chris, but there were so many people at that table to me that are better suspects. Kay, how I see it, had a whole list. It could be Kay. More than likely it was Cookie. Cookie had a whole lunch with them. I don't remember her being at Monique's initial thing where the Pride event, but y'all, I don't believe in this case it was Stacy. And then Wendy says, I want Stacy to realize I'm watching in real time the tides turn. This is another premonition of Stacy losing audience support. So some of y'all are really pressed about Stacy being fan favorite. Wendy, you had to get in trouble before you became fan favorite. We rallied around Wendy when Mia basically spit in her face. We'll say throw a drink, but Mia had drank out of that drink and then threw it in her face. Then tried to hit the lady with a clutch purse just for her verbally defending herself. And then the next few nights or the next trip, Wendy was letting a girl look at her business. So I don't know what I think about you, Dr. Wendy. There's something missing. I hate that Wendy didn't just have Stacy's back. Like, I don't think Stacy was dating Chris, and I don't think she was speaking about Monique to Chris. I don't either how I see it. And I think when you look at Monique, when she's saying this stuff, she's not even convinced of it. Monique has this need, like all of the other ladies, to be accepted and liked by Giselle and Ash Top, no matter what they do to them. Even Angel. My sweet Angel, I'm over here with my cloak of immunity on Angel. Angel wants to be accepted by Giselle as well. I don't know about now, but she came in. I thought you'd be a big sis. Why? This lady's never given big sis energy. They have forgotten conveniently, but They used to push Ashley around. That's why Ashley would stay into it with Robin. And we have Keywan JTV saying Wendy was wrong for turning on Stacey and Andy was wrong for asking her. Andy is a mess. Andy wants to stir something up, get in the middle of these very loose friendships because it's fragile enough, and then say, I want to move on. Well, then move on, Andy, but please give us somebody who can host these reunions. Miss Sandra, please remove the clock. Thank you. Let me see where this is, Keywan J. Cancel. Let me know if that's gone. Or is that Karen up there? Karen's over my face. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize. Okay. Let me know if that is okay. I appreciate that. Those of you that are listening, you're at work, you're working out, you're having your walk, you're taking the dogs out. I appreciate it. So thank you so much. So they are, Andy mentions, you seem to bond when you're singing. Oh, the cloak. Oh, remove the cloak of immunity? No, we're not. We're not. She still needs it. But I saw some things in Angel. Now, I'm not sure if she's returning or not. I'm like 50-50. I was 80% sure that she would return. Some of her behavior at this second part of the reunion, I'm not sure Angel wants to come back. And I'm not sure this is for her. But she still has my first season cloak of immunity for the rest of this reunion. We'll see what happens. So Andy's saying the ladies actually bond when they're singing. We see them at that horrible lift every voice and sing white people awards from Tia's job. He asked Tia something about it. I'm still employed. Tia, you're ridiculous. So they show them doing that. Andy wants to know who would be the Beyonce of the group. Angel says me. Ashley's raising her hand. Somebody said Roberta Flack is rolling over in her grave from Ashley doing that bad singing. So that fell kind of flat. And then Andy wants to go to Angel's trip. Angel smiles, but Angel, I see that fear behind your eyes. Angel does not want to talk about Denver anymore or this trip. But Andy being Andy, he got to talk about it. He does. Keywan J says, Jazzy's not coming back. I'm so disappointed in Jazzy's reunion performance. I can't believe it. And actually, after she made that comment about Stacey, they probably still sleeping together. I think when they went to the new segment, I feel like he said, okay, Jazzy, thank you. And Jazzy and her roses got up and went off the stage. Thank you, because she wasn't really doing anything. So Angel starts to say she wanted to apologize. Giselle jumped in and says, boo, boo, tomato, tomato. Giselle didn't deserve second chair in this reunion. She really had a terrible performance as well, weighing in on other people's packages and just very childish. Angel still sitting there smiling. And Andy wants to know, does anybody feel like Giselle went too far when she tried to take over the trip? Kay said, I do. Kay, I don't know if you feel that or you just trying to pipe up because you know you're falling flat this reunion too. So Giselle says, of course you would think that, Kay. Giselle rightfully asked, does anybody that was in the house without water think I went too far? None of the ladies agree that Giselle went too far taking over the trip. Now, we know a lot of things happen behind the scenes as far as Angel not being responsible for that house. Angel does say, I realize this group of girls, we can't have two separate homes. She's trying to apologize, but they're not really accepting it. I'm like, Andy, y'all, I want to move on because there's nothing she can do about it at this point. Their thoughts of her are cemented in. So Angel stopped begging them. So one of the viewers had a funny question. It was real. Angel, why do you want to sit around in silent circles and sound bowls with this group of ladies? Everybody starts laughing. Production shows us where Giselle said, I don't like silence and something else she said, peacefulness. I like mess and mendacity. Something she said, but that is Giselle. So we know that that is the case. Angel says she realizes that that's not appropriate for this group of ladies. And she felt bad about everything that happened. Giselle's claiming that Angel never said that to them. Production shows us literally Angel's on the private jet before they went to Aspen apologizing and Giselle cutting her off saying, too late, and over talking her. So Giselle, you are still a liar and the truth ain't in you. I think she was the same way as a first lady. I'm tired of her. How I See It TV says, Neck has so much to say. And then she didn't have a package. Thank you. And Andy did that on purpose. I loved it. And she didn't deserve second chair. If you don't have enough to cobble together a package, you need to be hanging off the couch instead of Angel. I don't care that this was Angel's first season. I didn't like her position on that couch on the other side of Kay, particularly with Kay cutting her off, weighing in. And then when Angel tries to say something, Kay's like, I can answer my own question. Good, Kay, then don't answer her question. Angel, we have so much feedback for you. Key1 J says, I feel Andy was trying to humble Stacey by telling her about her getting a big head. I think so too, Key1 J. And I think Andy has nightmares of fan favorite or a Nene Leakes type character or Teresa Giudice. When the audience starts to hype them up and they get bigger than the program, it's hard to rein them back in. So he's trying to do that to Stacey early. I hope Stacey's smart enough to catch it. Stacey, this is your employer. This is not your friend. I don't care if he's obsessed with your clips and he's watching you all the time. That man sees you as his show horse, just like he saw Teresa, just like he saw Nene. And if he need to pause you or push you back, he will. How I see it says, I think she went too far in this sense that they didn't really give Angel a chance to fix the situation. And it seems like they were only there for 3 days. That's true how I see it. Also, Andy was asking Angel, did she apologize? Something he was asking her. She was saying, I didn't know about it because I wasn't in the group chat. Another thing, this group needs to stop that excluding people from group chats. Jazzy ended up telling Angel that there was no water, but Angel should have been in contact. But if you're not talking to the girl and every time you talk to her, you're yelling over her, I kind of don't blame her. I really do. Tia, you were no help either with that situation. So Giselle is asked about, well, she's complimented on her trip to Nevis. Giselle, you threw a great trip to Nevis. Do you feel badly about excluding Stacey? No, I don't feel bad about excluding Stacey. Would you put her name on the robe? No, I still do that the same. The only thing I would do different is I would not give her a large. I would give her her size. Giselle, you sound like a fool. When you exclude a member of a group on an intimate trip, 10 or less people I consider intimate, you are being a bully, you're being a mean girl, and you're too old for this foolishness. Stacey said, it was just shade. It was just shade. Every time they're wrong, they say shade, fun shade. But Stacey did feel excluded. Stacey, being a good sport, said, shade accepted. I wouldn't have accepted it, but Stacey accepts it. So then Karen appears. The ladies were glad to see her. I wanted to show the picture of her in this fur coat. Dear Yvette, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in while we are on the live. It is great to see you during the live. There it is, everybody. That's her. That's how she showed up. She's back. Come on in, Karen. Karen comes in. She looked good, but Karen, she came in with this fur coat. Production showed her walking down the hall. Karen had about 7 to 8 men. Karen, you're not Michelle Obama. I love you, but come on now. You coming in there like that. So they were glad to see her. She sits down. How are you doing, Karen? I'm doing great. I'm doing great, Andy. She said, if my seat wasn't here, I would have sat in your lap. Let them know, Karen. Tell them. So I found that pretty funny. So they want to know who was the most supportive. We find out that it was Giselle. We know they've gone back and forth, but Giselle doesn't have her own storyline. The Grand Dame and her feud, mini feud, because Karen can defend herself. So it's really not bullying. They go back and forth. But Giselle, according to Karen's own mouth, was the most supportive, and she would leave letters in her mailbox. So Giselle, she wasn't letting you in the door, huh? Well, that was really sweet, leaving letters in her mailbox. Andy wants to know, what was your reaction to Giselle wishing you would be in the elderly section of jail? We see Ashley saying, yeah, like an AARP section. Karen said, I ignored her, that's how you deal with her, Angel. Don't get all upset and start crying and getting Bobby on the phone and have him mad and talk about necks and stuff. Don't do that. Do what Karen does. Do what Stacey does. You pay her dust. A mess. Angel met them at the airport, was at the house with them for a few hours, and then left to go to her house for prep for them to arrive for dinner. I don't think she needed to be checking in at that point. Yeah, how I see it, TV, I think they are saying that she didn't check in after they had the water situation. I'm not sure when they had the water situation. I guess when they started to shower for dinner, maybe they realized they didn't have everything that they needed. But Jazzy being the only one to let Angel know that, I think that was kind of out of line. I think Giselle was always angling to get Ritz-Carlton rooms, which Angel tried to do as well, I'm hearing, but it didn't come through for her. She and Bobby allegedly have contacts in Denver and at the Ritz-Carlton specifically, but they got up off the rooms for Giselle and Bravo Production. Giselle, you didn't want to swipe your card. That's what that was. So Wendy and Karen, well, before they get into it, Andy wants to know, we ended on not a great note between Karen and Stacey. Karen's looking Stacey is looking shocked. Karen's looking all around. Stacey's like, I'm right here. So he said, where do you stand? Karen said, I don't know. Did you lie again? Now, Karen, this is not making sense to those of us that don't know why Karen and Stacey are having some kind of situation. Karen brings up TJ. Karen, we want to stop talking about TJ. We don't care if she paid him or they had an agreement. He didn't get the money. None of that. Nobody cares about TJ. I don't know the beef between Karen and Stacey. If anybody knows, please let me know. Okay, here's dear Yvette. Thank you, dear Yvette. Sandra, Karen was out of control and Andy tired of them being lackluster. I think Karen is kind of like when certain people just get out of prison, they're behind the times. Because Karen, your feud from last year, that didn't follow through for me. I don't know what she's talking about. Dear Yvette is right. Monique needs a job. See you, Dorito. I think she's coming back. She said the triangle was something about the pyramids in Egypt or something like that. It didn't translate. It looked like a project, runway project that they give you. 2 cotton balls and a string. Here's your dinner gown. I don't know what Monique was doing, but again, I'll compliment her beautiful hair, exquisite locks, and that face. Gorgeous. So Stacey and Karen are kind of going back and forth, but not really, because Karen, what is it? We don't know what it is. So the other ladies are trying to say something. Karen can speak for herself. Karen ends up saying, whether or not you dated Chris, somebody was saying that you did. She mentions again that I'm the only one that lives in Potomac, I guess alluding to the fact that she could find out if she did date Chris. So I don't know. Andy circles back to the interview. I forgot to mention during the break before Karen came out, Giselle and Ashley were telling Andy, you did such a great job on the interview. Now, I've done my own review of the Karen interview. I actually liked it a lot. I love the way she showed up. I kind of questioned why she didn't want to admit to being an alcoholic, even though she was teaching classes in the jail against being on drugs or on alcohol. But that was the only flaw I saw in it. A lot of people really criticize her and doesn't feel like she took accountability. But for me, her being a week outside of jail and having a high-level network executive, high profile and high level, come to her home a week out, I feel she did a great job, and I really enjoyed the interview. But a lot of people didn't. So I think the feedback that the audience was giving, Giselle and Ashley heard, and they were trying to stroke Andy. Andy, you did so well. You did so well. A lot of people don't think it was. So Andy wants to circle back to that interview, gives her the opportunity again. He's asking why she won't cop to being an alcoholic. She's still not owning it. She said, I own everything about it, but there's a choice that I make which empowers you. She's still saying, I'm a woman that chooses to live in complete sobriety. I don't have a problem with her saying that. Now, people that have known people that have struggled with addiction, alcohol, or drugs, maybe they can tell me why what she's saying is wrong. I don't understand. I don't have a problem with it, but a lot of people don't like it. So, Grand Dame, you're going to have to say it exactly the way people want you to say it, or they're not going to forgive you. But I don't think Karen cares about that, y'all. She knows she's got her job back, and she doesn't care. So I'm going to read a few comments, and then I will mention what Andy mentions about BravoCon. How I see it says, Karen was doing too much for me, laughing. I was like, Karen, I like you, woman, but you have a lot of audacity to just have come out of jail trying to check people. How I see it, right. She did not. Let's see, Yvette says, I don't know what you were going to end. You can end it and then I'll read it. But yeah, Karen, for her to try to tell Stacey, were you lying? Don't lie. And then she's going to get on Wendy in a minute. Now, I felt kind of two different ways about Karen and Wendy. I do think that Karen never really liked Wendy. And I think it stemmed from Andy tells Wendy later, you lead with your education. As she alluded to that last episode, you threw your education in our face. I think that is a big part of Dr. Wendy's accomplishments and who she is and what her family holds her up to be. You have these 4 degrees, you have your doctorate, all of this. So Wendy does lead with that. Her insecurity and maybe her looks earlier on, not having the clothes that she wanted, not being able to, she feels, stand next to these ladies, which I feel is not the case, but she felt it. Karen kind of had something against Wendy, But because she's got this grand dame mother persona, she kind of had to stop picking on Wendy and take her under her wing a little bit. But she used to pick at Wendy too, with the Wendy slouch and all that kind of stuff. She did do that. So her and Wendy get into it a little bit. Andy wants to know, at BravoCon, why did you feel you deserve a standing ovation? Something like that. That was a separate paid event I did not go to. The panel that I went to was just the Real Housewives of Potomac ladies, where Dr. Wendy was all in white. And she was trying to be cute about, I apologize, I had too much dip on my chip. And Dr. Wendy would not look at her or accept her apology, which the audience, including myself, were in agreement with. Karen was not at that event. She was a separate ticket on a Sunday program. When she came out, she got a standing ovation. Andy was happy about it. He was clapping like a seal as well. So I don't know why he's asking her why she felt she deserved that. Karen said she feels like, as someone who's overcome addiction. Now, Karen, you're living with it. You may not be drinking now or taking prescription drugs, but you are living, and it's a day-to-day process from what I've heard and what I've seen others experience. But Karen is not being humble enough for people. Andy is feeling the backlash that Bravo has received for putting her on a pedestal, and Karen's not going to bow down. So if we're waiting for that, she's not going to do it. So Andy wants to know why she deserved that. I don't see a problem with it. I remember Robert Downey Jr. getting out of jail after breaking into his neighbor's house and getting in that little girl bed. He was at the Oscars giving an award. He got a standing ovation. Nobody asked him about that. So anytime somebody brings up a certain thing, there's always a situation I can bring up and relate it to that and want to know what's the problem here. So I don't have a problem with Karen getting a standing ovation. I don't, and her accepting it. But I do feel like she could take a little more responsibility. Wendy and Andy wants to know what's going on with the relationship between Wendy and Karen. Wendy and Karen, I don't know what's going on with them either. Wendy is upset. You call my mother a witch. Production helpfully shows us the footage. Karen is telling Wendy, now we didn't see this scene, so this is something that didn't make the cut. Karen's telling Wendy, I was on your side when people were behind the scenes accusing your mother of being a witch. Now, Dr. Wendy, you're smarter than this. You know that doesn't mean that Karen called your mother a witch. Karen also said, I love your mom. I love your family. She sincerely wishes the best for you and Eddie. Wendy says, I received that. Karen wants her to know, I feel like you are doing too much talking. I agree with your mom when she told you, shut the F up. And Giselle's sitting there like, Karen, Giselle, we don't need to hear from you. Andy said, now that is a little tough. She had a hard time when that scene was going on. And Karen says she's talking too much. Right before this, Andy asked Wendy a question. Wendy gives the whole rundown on the burglary, the police coming to the home, taking the report. She said 2024 or 2025. It happened in 2024. A year later, the same investigator came to the house and Eddie said, baby, the cops are at the door. And she said, oh, you were the one that took the report. Did you find the burglars? And that man told them there was no burglary. So I did not want Dr. Wendy doing all this talking. Karen told her the same thing. She said, listen to me as the Karen you used to like. You're doing too much talking. I didn't want you to do what you just did because they will watch, they will listen, and they will twist things. Y'all, there's something that's not connected with Dr. Wendy. She's very smart, but she's book smart. She needs a street degree. Okay, she's not one of these people that is smart in committing crimes. I'm a little scared for Wendy. Andy asked Karen if he feels like Wendy could survive jail or whatever. Karen gives some MLK speech about we're strong Black women and she could survive it if she did. He asked Wendy if she had any plans. Wendy said she don't want to go down that road. So Wendy has a block in her mind that any of this is real. This is scary, y'all. I don't want Dr. Wendy in jail. I'm sorry. I don't want Happy Eddie in jail. I don't care what people say about insurance fraud and all this stuff. But I'm very fearful, more not even of the police as much as I am the insurance company, 3 to be exact, and this detailed investigation they do. So Wendy is putting it in her rear view, but she said, I'm not through it yet, but it has made me stronger. Wendy was doing some stuff that didn't really seem as if she's living in reality. And she was doing this tick. I don't know if y'all know Diana Jenkins, the one season wonder that was harassing Garcelle's sons over on Beverly Hills. She got this with her tongue and everything. Wendy was doing that. Wendy's stress level is here, but she's just acting like everything is everything. My heart goes out to Dr. Wendy, y'all. If she did this, she did it, but her going to jail or whatever, that's not going to pay restitution to these people. This is getting scary, y'all. So that, yeah, Diana Jenkins, one season wonder. So this is sad, everybody. Dr. Wendy is in big trouble. Mama Bees is saying, and she actually was the one that made it clear to me all along, that somebody might be going to prison. They are trying to bury her in the Trump County she lives in. They will make an example of them. Mama Bees, that's what concerns me. The sheriff actually has had I don't know if he said he wants to make an example of them, but a lot of people said at that press conference, the way he was laying it out, it was evident and it was clear. Andy wants to know the relationship between the sister and mother, because the last time we saw them, Mama Sue was telling her, shut the F up. The sister was marching down the driveway. And Wendy says there's a silver lining in every cloud. And the silver lining is her family has rallied around her and Eddie. Eddie's family has rallied around them. I'm glad to hear that. But again, these are the two that have made it. So, of course, the family is like us. We want Dr. Wendy and Eddie, something to happen for them to, I don't know. I won't say get away with it because she's claiming they didn't do it. She keeps saying that after Karen advised her to stop doing all this talking, not do what she just did, Wendy says, my legal counsel right before this knew the line of questioning. Andy's sitting there looking shocked. Wendy, your employer should not have a line of questioning about an open case. Y'all, I'm no attorney, but this is driving me crazy. I was shocked. Karen was telling her nothing but the truth, but Wendy was not receiving it. I kind of wish Eddie were out there, but y'all, this year, they're not having them in. Eddie stayed in street clothes the whole time. Let me see. I think that this is mainly it. When Karen first came out, as she came up, we see her telling that story about somebody watching Karen drink at Legal Seafoods. Karen confirmed that was correct. This happened in the interview too. She discounted everything Wendy said, even though the same story was told and that was the truth. So I feel like that was weird. Wendy doing that same weird thing with her mouth, doing her tics. Poor Wendy. So everybody, we see Andy and production show us a scene of Giselle, I think it was Tia and Kierna and Angel talking about Dr. Wendy and the case and not being all that supportive. He shows Angel saying, I feel like a lot of what Wendy was doing was projection onto me and picking on me and using me as a whipping boy when she had all this stuff going on in her background. And then Angel in the confessional says, I hope the Lord prevails, or she hopes the Lord, something about the Lord. Angel, that didn't look great. Andy comes back at the reunion, asks her what that meant. Angel pretties it up a little bit, but it didn't look good. They put the camera on Dr. Wendy. Dr. Wendy is looking dead at Angel. Anything that Ashley or Giselle have said or done to Dr. Wendy is forgiven. Angel, if you come back, Dr. Wendy gonna have it out for you. That's the other thing I don't like. I don't think Dr. Wendy holds grudges against anybody but those she perceives as weaker. She still wants to be in the Mean Girl crew. And we saw her behavior this season. And I wish she didn't do that. I really do. So Wendy was reconciling with the dad. That came up a little bit. The fact that the news broke. Production, again, shows us renovation of the house. Her house looked perfectly fine before everybody, but Wendy was doing the Wendy. And then Andy is asking whether or not she was trying to keep up all this kind of stuff. What does she feel when people say that? Wendy says, people are going to say what they're going to say. I just let them have their own opinion. They have a right to their opinion. Wendy, we do believe that that is the reason why you got your body done. You started buying all these Birkins. I think she was trying to keep up with the Joneses. And the Joneses are not the Joneses. We've been picking at Giselle's fashions for 10 seasons. She didn't go out and start trying to get all different Birkins. She got the house that she could afford. She did the renovation she could afford. And we don't hear anything about her with 67 different identities. Andy brought that up again. Ashley sitting there smirking because she got her little 6-7 off last episode, which was really juvenile and silly. Wendy says that her lawyers answered that in court. She doesn't have 67 identities. Something about packages being delivered. Dr. Wendy, I don't understand all this. I really don't. And Karen gave her perfectly what she should have said. She said, I don't feel you should be answering any questions in this forum. I feel like you should say, I cannot speak about that. And when time is for me to speak about it, I will. But I want you to stop doing interviews. You shouldn't be here answering anything. Y'all, Andy looked a little annoyed with Karen. Like, don't mess up my questions. But Andy, I don't think you love Wendy that much to have her up there sacrificing herself like this. And Wendy's so desperate for any attention. She really was candid and just answering everything. She never said, I can't answer that. I can't speak about that. She did it at BravoCon, but she didn't do it in this forum. Wendy, you showed up. You already got paid. And matter of fact, Karen said, I wouldn't even be here. We know Karen skipped out her last reunion. So Andy did have a really heartfelt moment, in my opinion, even though I think he views himself as the boss and these as his employees, and that's the case. He said, Dr. Wendy, you have been the epitome of a housewife. We have watched your growth. You led with your education. I admire everything about you. That's why everything that's happened with you, myself, the audience has just been shocked. And Wendy says, thank you, Andy. Thank you. She said, one thing you don't know about yourself, you give the best hugs. When I saw you at BravoCon, you hugged me all over my body or something she said like that. So I thought that was really sweet. I thought he was going to hug her then, but he didn't. So they let Wendy off the hook finally. They go to a break. Happy Eddie comes out, and all the women are kind of crowding around Karen. Okay, Grand Dame, and all this kind of stuff. Nobody checked on Wendy. That was a tough segment. Happy Eddie came out and said, are you okay? I think he gave her water because I saw her take a sip of water. Wendy kind of sank into the couch. Y'all, this was really difficult for her. I have to give it up to her for showing up at this reunion because I'm like, Karen, I don't know if I would have been there, but I guess she needed the money at that point. So Wendy makes it through that segment. Everybody makes it through that segment. We come back and Andy says, ladies, we're going to wrap this up. Kay says Giselle didn't go. Y'all, Kay's been a fool this whole season and this reunion, but when she said that, it made me laugh so much because we have somebody in my family that doesn't have a filter, but they're little and it's really funny. The person is 7. So like she would say something like that. Kay, you're not supposed to bring this up. She said, Giselle didn't go. And then Wendy said, Giselle didn't get a package. And Giselle said, yeah, what about me? What about you, Jizzy? You didn't talk about anything the whole season. So this is what you get. Nah, this is what you get. Just like the little kids say. Y'all, that made me laugh so much. Giselle didn't go, so she didn't have a package. Andy asked them to wrap up. I'll start with the newer ladies first. Andy, you are no good. This is too much. So he starts with the newer ladies first. He goes to Angel. Angel, takeaway from this season, and what are you doing moving ahead? Angel says, I think being zen and calm doesn't mean that you can't address when something is bothering you. And I'll work in the future. Angel starts to Angel. Okay, Angel, you can come back if you want to, but I don't know. Angel is a trip. So then we go to Tia. Tia is the other rookie. Tia says, I can be quite naive in situations. Tia starts to Tia. I'm going to be more mindful. Bye-bye. Tia, you didn't come across like you thought you did. I started out liking Tia. Tia's been a bit of a pick-me and kind of questionable. So I got on the fence with Tia. As it stands now, Tia could return. She says that she's going to mind her words and be careful. We find out that her husband, Rob, and I liked Rob when we saw him, ended up being quite offended, and not really wanting to film after she let Giselle call him a nanny. And they made a joke out of it. So I don't like the husbands being the butt of jokes. And Giselle loves doing that, including and up to lying on a husband. So yeah, Tia, you were a little naive. You can't sit around and joke with Giselle about your husband. So I'd like to see Tia back as well. So Tia wants to put herself in other people's shoes, all this kind of stuff. He goes to Kierna, who again is only in her 2nd season. And Kierna said something. I saw Angel touch Kay's leg, kind of like giving her encouragement. Kay, I don't think you've been the same friend to Angel that Angel has been to you. I really don't like that. So Andy said they've been together 10 years. Actually, he mentioned that to Monique and Karen before they left. Thank you for being part of the 10-year journey. And she says that I started out with a sisterhood and I want to continue that, but I have found that lately I haven't been as much as a sisterhood. She tries to allude to the ladies being more sensitive now, which is not true. Ashley, you stayed down to HR about Candace when Candace used to wrap you up verbally. So I don't know why Ashley is running with this narrative. It's not true. She said she's going to try to begin to be a sister to the ladies and kind of meet them where they are, even if they're sensitive, something like that. So she's still trying to dig at Angel. I do think Angel is sensitive, but I think also in addition to that, Angel doesn't want us to see her verbally wrap somebody up. And we know that she could. They've caught Angel on hot mics calling people stringy hair garden tools and Forrest Whitaker lips and anus lips and all this kind of stuff. So Angel, you're going to have to bring that out in the open. And also in her confessionals, bring that actually to the scene and she might be okay. Giselle says, well, I'm going to give my summary because I didn't get the package, whatever she said. Andy gave a little smirk, y'all. I don't know. I hope the shine has worn off Giselle a little bit. I don't want Ashley back, period. And if Giselle came back friend of, I actually would not be upset because she gave nothing. She didn't deserve second chair. And she gives her little summary. One of the daughters, Angel or Adore, one of the twins pledged AKA, so we find that out. Something about grades. She's looking forward to future business endeavors. What about G&A, Giselle? We haven't heard anything about G&A. This is a mess. Dear Yvette says, I like Angel, but she's not going to make it. They need a whole new cast with Stacy. I don't know. They made it to their 10-year point, so I don't see them building a whole new cast around Stacy, but I would like to see some changes. What do y'all like Tia? Y'all want Tia back or not? At the end of the season, I didn't know. Now, after her reunion performance, I think she kind of brought it to the reunion best she could. Again, Giselle gave nothing, but it's her seniority, so I would allow it. I wouldn't care if she's back as friend of. Ashley could still go for me, and I think that Ashley is really upset about her job, about what the audience is saying, and she's really working hard, digging in. I saw her do recently in their area, she was doing a live watch party and boots on the ground. What else is going on podcast? Tiara was right in her face with a mic asking questions about the hypocrisy between the way she used to go at it with Candace versus her now calling the new lady sensitive. Were you sensitive back then? And she's trying to lie and pretend she doesn't understand Tiara's question, which was crystal clear and chef's kiss. So get out of here. Ophelia, thank you so much for coming in during the live. I appreciate seeing you. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you. So we are wrapping up this reunion. This was actually better than part 2. Part of it was Karen and then the Karen and Wendy. Even though everybody, it still didn't get cleared up for me. Stacy, I feel like is kind of being put on notice by Andy. Like, don't get too big for your britches because we can treat you like Nene and Teresa and have you over here begging for a job. Even Kenya. Kenya's not back over there yet. So Wendy, I can't remember what Wendy said. I'm just glad Wendy made it through this reunion. She had a really tough segment to me. And Ashley lies, I do love you. I hope you know I want the best. And I'm being petty, but that's not where my heart is. I feel like that is where her heart is. Her first reaction was a slick remark and joking in public about Wendy's situation, which could include prison. Mama Bees pretty much thinks that, yeah, that probably is what's going to happen. But we have to just wait and see. That's another thing Wendy says. She's going to let the law run its course. I guess you have no other choice. So this was a lackluster, letdown season for me, but I'll give this episode a 7. I'll give it a 7. So Andy says, congratulations again on the 10 years. They're going to toast. We're going to have a toast. He brings out the champagne. Thank you, Kiwan J. I always enjoy your live, Miss Sandra. I appreciate that. Thank you. He brings out the champagne. Y'all, this is where I was unsure about Angel. The end of the season, I feel like Angel will definitely be back. She's got Bobby. She got those cute kids. She's got the home in Denver. They are renovating Potomac home. And when he gave out they took their picture. They took a really cute selfie. he gave out the champagne, and she was walking toward Andy, drinking her champagne. She gave a big smile to everybody. When she looked dead at Andy, Angel's smile dropped, and she turned her back on Andy, y'all. She turned her back on Andy. Now, remember last episode, Andy lied on Bobby. I thought Bobby was being mean to me. No, Bobby's just not going to do no shake, rattle, and roll for you, like some of these other men trying to be seen. So it's not that Bobby's being mean. And then Angel also said, the way Bobby treats people is the way they deserve to be treated. So Angel, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on if she's going to return. So I know her husband's probably already said, F that job. But if you want to go back, I support you. I do like that about Angel and Bobby. Tia, I think will be returning because she's easy enough to get along with. She's shown that she is a fence rider. She can go any way the wind blows. I don't see that as positives, but on these shows, it kind of is a positive. You got to be able to move between the groups. Kierna, I don't care if she drops the friend of or doesn't come back. I don't like her influence on Angel. I don't feel that Angel's really getting to know the other ladies, and I think that Key has been a barrier. Giselle, again, I'll say again, she could be friend of. She's not bringing anything. Ashley can go, but Ashley's ready to work. She's always ready to work, so if she's friend of, okay. Karen's coming back. Karen's check is secure. Karen's trying to add some other zeros onto her check. Let me see if I have forgotten anybody else. Okay, there's Ashley, there's Kiana. Oh, Stacy, of course Stacy's coming back. Stacy made a funny comment and said something like, if I'm invited back, Stacy, you're invited back and you know it. Andy just wants to put her on notice. So y'all, that was the end for part 2 of this reunion. I've covered everybody. Monique, friend of, because I wanted to see Monique kind of challenge Giselle and Ashley. Matter of fact, I was laughing with Monique when she was cracking up at Giselle and Ashley's reaction to their Denver twin bedroom, and she just didn't stick with it. She got with everybody else and started talking about Angel, got with everybody else and trying to drag Stacy, spoke about Angel's marriage. So Monique, I don't think you're as healed as you pretend you are. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me live at Sandra P's Gen Extra. Thank you, Mama Bees, for saying great live. We have Married to Medicine. So that one, I think I put it in at 11. So if you can join me a little bit later, please do so. If you cannot, I'll see you in the YouTube streets. Team Replay, thank you. Gift me with one of those hypes, everybody. I appreciate it upon the replay. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you in a little bit. Goodbye, everybody.
I don't think that he's good for you. How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good. That I don't